What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Destiny, and today we're going to be covering what we think is the most important question that needs to be answered about the upcoming Destiny 2 release. Although, of course, it is rumored that the PC version of the game might be delayed, which could throw an entire wrench in this argument, because obviously if the game's out in one version, it's just going to get bought there, and you can't really compete console to PC if one of them doesn't have it yet. But with many of the factors and news that have come out about the differences between console and PC, it might be the case that the PC version is shaping up to be the definitive experience for Destiny 2. And that isn't just us saying that. There's numerous Destiny 1 famous streamers and players, people that are really sick at the game of Destiny, that are saying that they want to switch over to the PC version, which is interesting on many levels. First of all, why is that the case? Well, with a lack of dedicated servers, limiting to 30 frames per second, lower graphical options, lack of mouse and keyboard, all of these things, the console version is starting to pale in comparison. Really, everything that the PC guys could have wanted from the port of the game is there. The only thing that's still kind of up to question is if there's going to be a player base in order to flesh out the Destiny 2 experience, because obviously, if for whatever reason, if there's just tons of console players and barely anybody plays it on PC, well, why would you play multiplayer there? And it might even be hard to find teammates and clans to pair up with, even just to play PvE, so that might give an edge to the console version anyway. But based upon the information that we've gathered, it kind of seems that the relationship Destiny 2 is going to have with PC and console is very similar to that of Battlefield. Battlefield for a long time was a big, expansive game with tons of graphical depth if your machine could run it, and because of that, games like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and even BF1, from console to PC looks like the difference between current gen to like N64 graphics. Not to mention, of course, the field of view, frame rates, all that other kind of stuff. So this brings up an interesting question for the Destiny community. What is most important to you? It's concerning that even though there's beefed up consoles like the Xbox Scorpio and the PS4 Pros out already, Destiny isn't going to allow you to play with more frames in Destiny 2 Crucible because they're worried about you being able to have a competitive advantage. Now, of course, on PC, everybody's hardware is different. Everyone can set their graphical settings to whatever they want. So the idea of one machine running slightly more optimized than the other isn't really an issue. So why can't that be the case for those console players who are paying the extra money to have these machines? I mean, the Scorpio's got an equivalent of a 1080. By no means can that machine not run Destiny 2 at 60 frames per second. So what you're doing here is capping the ability of those players to experience the game in a better way, just so that you can make it a bit more fair. But the truth of the matter is, guys, the difference between 30 frames per second isn't going to affect most players. Sure, the top-of-the-line players who are really sick at the game, maybe you have a slightly better response time in a very specific type of scenario, but it doesn't make you miles better as a player. You're not going to just automatically be able to aim better because you have slightly better frame rate. It just, more or less, it makes it look better and play smoother, and the competitive advantage that it gives isn't as large as I think they're making it seem. So it's really odd to make that decision. And of course, on PC, we're all used to variable performances from machine to machine anyway, like it's taken as a given. Now, I want to be clear, we make these videos advocating for these positions not because we want to laugh at the console players. In fact, all three of us are pretty upset that the consoles are being capped in this way, especially the higher tier consoles, which is the entire point of buying them, I thought. Luckily, with the fact that cross-save functionality is going to be enabled for Destiny 2, wherever the player base is, you can float to in order to be able to enjoy the game. But all things considered, it seems that it's shaping up that if you want to get the best experience from Destiny, you're going to need to play on the PC, which obviously for a lot of games that already is the case, but this is a big jump from a game that went from being a console exclusive to now be entering not just the PC market, but very specifically into the Battle.net launcher. That means it's going to be paired up with the games in the Blizzard ecosystem. It's going to be surrounded around a community of hardcore gamers who play a lot of team-focused, cooperative, grindy games. I mean, Diablo 3's on there, of course. They have their own shooter in Overwatch. There's going to be a lot of overlap with this community, and we think a lot of interest. Now, we're even going to go one step further with this. We think that the PC version is going to have a blossoming community, rivaling the size of the console for two reasons. One, because the console experience is so many stages below where the PC is, meaning that there's really not much of a reason to choose console over PC unless there is a lack of players on PC. But competitively in the marketplace of games like this, there really isn't an equivalent to Destiny 2 on PC. For a long time, they've wanted a Halo game and never got one. Well, now, not only do they satisfy the grindy, cooperative PvE experience, where Blizzard games like Diablo pioneered. They're tapping into that audience at the same time with the competitive focus of the Crucible being tightly tuned to be balanced for competitive play. There's a chance that that blossoms as an esports scene. I'm sure you guys can let us know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. This is probably something that is very divisive, all of these points really, but the final point to why the PC might be the definitive place to play Destiny is that PC gamers are longing for competitive first-person shooter games, and the format of Destiny 2, as described thus far, looks to be that. 4 versus 4, with power weapon control, ability management, and single life tactics. I mean, this is like combining the arena shooter games that are kind of lacking on PC even, despite the fact that they're blossoming in popularity and coming back a little bit with Lawbreakers and Quake Champions, but also taps into some of that CSGO market. And Destiny 2 has the chance to bridge the gap between these two types of communities. It has the mass appeal of a game that you can play with any of your friends, despite whether they're really sick at the game or not, in order to play multiplayer PvE, which is something that I'm desperately looking forward to. I had to leave a lot of my friends in the dust in order to play competitive games like Overwatch and CSGO, where if you weren't really good enough, well, you might as well play 2 ranks below where you really should be, because your friends are going to be holding you back, unfortunately. Destiny 2 doesn't really have that problem, because you can play with any of your friends on raids and PvE, but also is going to have this hardcore multiplayer experience that is much more honed and competitive than it ever has been before. It almost is shaping up to be as if that multiplayer is specifically tuned to appeal to PC gamers, because on console, there's much more of a norm of 6v6, because Call of Duty is so big on the consoles. And on PC, the lexicon is closer to Counter-Strike, and taking all of these steps to sort of emulate arena shooters and round-based tactical combat, where games like Rainbow Six and CSGO shine. These are PC types of games. We think that the PC community in total might rally around this game. The graphics look intense, you got all sorts of graphical options, the multiplayer is competitive and interesting. All these things considered, Destiny 2 is shaping up not to just be a good game, but a great PC game that might have the legs to last multiple years and captivate a new audience on the PC where there really isn't much competition in this area. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. There's a lot of moving parts with this conversation, and we're just sort of reading the tea leaves, and I gotta say, as PC gamers ourselves, we couldn't be more happy about this. Now, of course, we are going to cover the game on all of its platforms with Destiny, especially since PS4 gets a lot of the exclusive content. And we're definitely going to be making use of the cross-save function, though, in order to play with both communities because we have friends on both platforms, but also to get the most out of each experience by utilizing the strengths of each one. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. There's all sorts of Destiny news coming around the corner, and we don't upload on this channel every day yet, but we will cover all of the news as it comes out and start cranking out regular content when we can get our hands on the beta. Linked in the description, you can check out our Your Destiny Twitter as well as the Discord server where you can interact with the Destiny 2 burgeoning community that we're attempting to build. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for Your Destiny. I'll see you guys next time.